everybody, welcome to Nintendo Pow Block here on PlatinumGames. I'm your host, the enlightened, excited ADV. Joining me is the indie insider himself, Mr. Dan Murphy.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Yes, the devastating dungeoneer himself, Mr. David Laxby, looking smooth.
Thanks, Adam. Happy to be here.
Yes, and our special guest, she is the beaming, bookish Becca. Becca,
Hi guys.
welcome, Becca. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a little nervous, but I'm doing good. Excited to get into the heat of the episode.
Thank you for being our guest. Before we get into the show, can you just tell us a little about, a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got into gaming?
Yeah. So I work really hard. I work in advertising. And when I'm not working, I obviously like to play games, like to read, like to spend time with my dog Zora and my cat Mouse. And how I got into gaming, my dad actually bought my brothers and I a Super Nintendo when I was
Yes.
7. And I also got a Game Boy Advance the same year, I think, whenever it came out for Christmas. And I have been hooked ever since. That's what I wanted to do. I was like, okay, I no longer want to go outside. My dad's like, go outside, go play.
Oh,
So
oh,
that's kind of how I got into it.
and shout out
So,
to you for the Breath of the Wild calendar in the back. I just noticed it that.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, yes.
I remembered to change it to April today, so you're welcome for
awesome.
that.
And Zora is an awesome dog name too.
Oh yeah, thank you. It was either that or Dan, I think we talked about it. I was gonna name him it was actually Asher after the giver and also Ash Ketchum. I was gonna call him Ash for short, but I stuck with Zora. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Right. Yes, thank you. Well, we're going to get into some quick housekeeping. This is episode 240 of Nintendo Pow Block Podcast. Each and every week, we come together to talk about games and everything we love about them with our friends. You can join us live on Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/BossRushGames live and be a part of the conversation. But if you can't join us live, no big deal. You can head over to youtube.com/BossRushGames and BossRushGames.com to watch the show or listen on your podcast service of choice. Remember to subscribe, follow, rate, and review wherever you consume us. It helps us out with discoverability, and check out our family of shows wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, everybody, come join the Boss Rush Network Discord. We have a ton of communities there that you can talk about games, entertainment, snacks, and more. One last thing before we actually get into this show, we want to congratulate Bossman himself, Mr. Corey Derrick. He and his wife had a healthy baby, Miles Daniels Derrick. He's a cute little thing. So congratulations, boss, on your new arrival of your son. So if you guys seen on his Twitter page, if you guys follow him, you can see pictures of the new baby. But just wanted to give that shout out. Congrats to him. So you guys, how was your weekend? Actually, Dan, how was your weekend? Because I see that you actually got to meet LaRon in person.
Yeah, actually, I'll save the meet and greets I had with a couple of Boss Rush members for the Snack Tendo. But this weekend was really nice. We got to go down and check out the cherry blossoms down at the National Mall. So we just missed peak season. It was like, I guess it was like beautiful and like flourishing on Tuesday, Wednesday. And there's such a small window with the cherry blossoms down there. But man, it is an experience. It's something everybody should see at least once. It was really cool.
I think ever since I learned about them and how they are in Japan, I've always wanted to be around one, like see it, and it's just, I don't know. Japanese culture gets me, and I wish I was there to see that. Now I gotta make a trip to where you at, Dan.
Yeah, I have one in my front yard. So if you ever come by, yeah, it's crazy.
What about you, David? How was your weekend?
Oh, it was a good weekend. Like Dan, I was enjoying all the trees. I studied forestry in college, so if you ever want to geek out on some tree knowledge about the cherry trees, Dan, I could talk for hours about that. So, it was a good weekend. I got to be outside. I started some new games, which I'll talk about later, in the podcast, and finished up some old ones and got some time with my family. So it was good.
All right. Becca, how was your weekend?
It was good. It was pretty short. I went to help my mom out around the house. She broke her knee last year, and
Oh
I don't know
no.
if you've ever known anyone that's done that, but it's a process to heal. So I went and helped her out, and then Sunday I went to my best friend's house, and she just had my nephew. He's 2 months old as of last week, so I got to hang out with them on Easter.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Uh, for me, besides being busy at work, of course, doing boss rush and everything, I actually got to visit my friend's church that I haven't been there since last year before the pandemic happened. So being able to go there and sing for their Easter program and everything was really fun, really, really entertaining. And I was just like, I missed this so much, but I actually had a good time there. And of course, when we get into Snacktendo, some good eats and stuff. Which now I guess we just get into Snacktendo. Okay, Dan, break it down.
All right. So I had work travel with in a couple of areas where our boss rush family is. First, I was in Kansas City, so I was able to meet up with Logan Corkins, who does our pretty much he spearheads all the um, Boss Rush Entertainment. So he does Trash Talk, Land Party, everything. He's a great host. Check him out. Also a connoisseur of delicious foods. So he brought me to this place called Strang Hall, which is like it's this really cool food hall where it was like it had 5 different little restaurants that you could order from and like one bar in the middle. So there was like a pizza joint, a fried food southern joint. You had a burger place. I ended up getting like a tuna poke bowl, and he got like this amazing pile of mac and cheese and a burger. And like a cherry cider. So that was really fun. And then I was in Richmond on Friday, which is pretty close to where Laurent is, who's our host of Crossroads. So
Yes.
Laurent and I got together, and we ate way too much Thai food for lunch. So, man, we got some spicy food. I like we were just ordering appetizers upon appetizers. So I think we tried everything in the Thai food department there. But yeah, it was a week of good food for me.
Ah, that's so amazing. I truly, truly love that. And hopefully I get to meet everybody from Boss Rush too this year. I'm just happy that we are connecting around where we can and everything. David, how was your Easter and Snack Tender, I should say?
Yeah, I mean it was all right. It was another light week on Snacktendo, but my snack was kind of connected to Easter. So somebody sent me a bag of like awesome jelly bellies, and jelly beans are like I can't keep them around because I can't
Hmm.
stop eating them once I do. And so that was fantastic, and I got to have an Easter favorite there. And then also, I don't know, it's just not that exciting, but I finally bought some Pringles, and I haven't had Pringles in forever, and they were just great. I just binged on those two, so those are probably my two things this week.
What flavor did you get?
Just original, which I feel
Oh,
like tastes like French fries. I don't know. So
okay, I can see that. What about you, Becca? How was your Snack Tender?
It was really good. I was excited because I was like, oh, I have something to talk about. We got a new like Mexican street food vendor near me, and so I got to try. I got some street corn, which is bomb. If you've ever had good Mexican street corn, it's amazing. And I got to try. I pulled it up. It's called a mango nata, which is like it had like pureed mango with like some like light chile sauce kind of mixed in, and it was so good. It was really good. I'm gonna have to get one again soon.
that sounds
Uh,
amazing. I
Yeah.
love Mexican street corn. It is like, oh, I'm wanting
Yeah.
that right now.
It's so good. I was like, okay, I cannot. This place needs to stop. I need to not be able to order this to my house. That's not a good plan.
All right. Well, before I get into my snack tender, I want to throw out Still Shane. He had a potato kind of meat dinner dish that he posted on our Discord. Logan did roasted veggies and chicken. That looks amazing. Celeste, she did dirt cake with peeps on it, which I like need in my stomach. I literally need in
I
my
don't even like Peeps, and that thing looked amazing.
exactly. I already talked to Dan, so hopefully I'm gonna send him my address so he can send me this mambo sauce.
It's
This
called Mumbo sauce. So it's like this sauce that's somehow exclusive to DC, and I'm gonna send it to you, Ed, and then you and I can talk about it together on a Snack Tendo segment. So I'll
yes,
just leave it at that for now, and I'm really excited for you to try this.
yes, and also Logan got to try the crispy taco lays in it. So I'm going to get into my snack tendo now. I posted on my Twitter at that retro code that I bought Potbelly's chicken pot pie soup. I get it. It's really good. It really is good. I just did it in a cup, but yeah, I the texture is great. Um, it's really not heavy on your stomach or anything. Like if you eat it, you'll feel really good. It's not gonna like put you to sleep or anything. It's a really good pot pie. They knocked it out of the park. I'm like, all right, pot bellies, y'all soup game is coming up. That's good. So I would give this like a A when it comes to pot pies, and definitely in soup form. Yeah, I definitely would get it. As for Easter, um, well, since we got our Easter candy going on sale, I'm intrigued to buy the marshmallow Reese's Pieces, uh, cake, Reese's cups, I should say. We got tons of them, but I just never forced myself to get them or anything. But the Cadbury eggs I have had, and I have had the caramel Cadbury eggs, and mwah, they are a delish, especially when you're drinking them with some Starbucks coffee, the mocha frappuccino to wash it
Now
all
we're
down.
talking.
Yes, it's good. Like I love Dunkin' Donuts. Don't get me wrong, but there's something about Starbucks frappuccino. Their mocha, mwah, like Dunkin' don't have nothing on that part.
All right,
So
Ed, I got to ask you though really quick. So you gave that pot pie an A, but what is your all-time favorite pot pie? Like, do you have a go-to if you're in the mood for some pot pie?
actually, yes. It used to be chicken, but now it's turkey. Turkey pot pie, I definitely would go for. And I think it's Stovers. Where the ones that you just gotta bake. You gotta bake it like you gotta make a little hole and then cut it out and stuff.
Mhm.
I normally go for them because something about when I see the that crust. Ooh, that crust is so good. And then when you eat the pie and you still got the pie crust around there, I just take it up and, and just like snack it up. Like it's so good. So that is the one for me. But everybody, that has been our snack Tendo. We're gonna get into not family news. Sorry about that, everybody, because I'm so excited about family news. But we're gonna get into our Game Boy, Game Fact events. Game Boy. I'm sorry, everybody. Our Game Fact events, and David, I put it in your hands because it's going to be a part of our doc mode. I hope. So, David, take it away.
All right. Well, since we are as you can I talk about our title or our topic? What is that okay to reference that?
Yeah.
I'm not ruining. Okay, great. So since we're talking about Zelda tonight, our game fact advance is about Zelda, and it goes back to one of my favorite, A Link to the Past. So here we go. The legendary antagonist of the Legend of Zelda series actually has two forms: Ganon and Ganondorf. Ganon, the malicious spirit, often manifests in the monstrous incarnation of a boar. The human form of the antagonist, Ganondorf, is a male Gerudo, a male of the Gerudo tribe who possesses great strength and ability, often the skill to wield dark magic. He also possesses the Triforce of Power. Now, most fans identify The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time as the first appearance of Ganondorf. However, this is only partially true. Yes, the celebrated Nintendo 64 title is the first in-game appearance of the human antagonist, but it is not the first time he is mentioned. The character is actually first identified in The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, where fans are given his full name, Ganondorf Dragmire. The catch? He doesn't appear in human form in the game at the start of the narrative. He has already obtained the full Triforce and has taken his powerful boar form as Ganon. It is actually the instruction manual for the SNES game that contains the information about Ganondorf the man and his full name. More interesting yet, it is only the manual released for Western audiences that contains this information. What do you guys think? Did you know about that? Particularly the Western part threw me for a loop. I didn't know that before.
That
recently.
no, I didn't. What?
I'm gonna throw this out there. If you haven't heard a Zelda fact, David, then I haven't.
I knew about
cool,
it being I knew about it being in the instruction manual, but I didn't know that there was the difference between the Western version and the one in Japan. And actually, interestingly enough, in doing this research, I found out that there initially was two different spellings of Ganon's name. One of them had two N's, Gannon, so I guess that's three N's.
Mhm.
And then there was a difference in the English version of the game where it only had the two N's, and it wasn't until Ocarina of Time that they finally matched the English spelling with the Japanese game.
Because yeah, wasn't the English one Ganon?
Yeah, but
And
in the
then
Japanese markets, it was
Ganon. Okay.
yeah.
Oh, well, I wonder is it because of the way that they write? I cannot think. It starts with a K. Is it Kent? Not Kanto. Um, they have a former Japanese writer, and I can't think of it. Sorry, everybody, once again. And so I think sometimes when stuff like that gets translated to English, the spelling gets kind of weird and iffy. So I wonder if that was it. Well, everybody, it's time for Family News, and we're gonna give it right back to David because I'm so excited for this. You take it away, David.
All right. Well, I'm kind of excited to find out which story has you so interested, Ed. So our first one, this is from Liam Doolin at NintendoLife.com. The headline is "No Joke: Platinum Games is releasing Soul Cresta on the Nintendo Switch." So the original story from Thursday, April 1st. This was on April Fool's Day. Quote, remember this time last year when Platinum Games pranked everyone with the announcement of a new arcade shoot 'em up known as Soul Cresta? Well, now a year later, believe it or not, it's announced the same game really is happening and will be coming to the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and PC at some point in 2021. The Japanese announcement trailer notes how the game is, quote, now in development, so stay tuned for more updates like a release date. As we previously mentioned, this title is based on the 80s side-scrolling shoot 'em up Moon Cresta and Terra Cresta, and will apparently be the first entry in Hamster's Neo Classic Arcade series. All right, then there was an update on Friday the 2nd, the day after April Fool's Day. Well, if you had any doubts about yesterday's announcements, Platinum Games has now published another tweet, this time on April 2nd, Japan time. It confirms the Soul Cresta will arrive on Switch, PS4, and Steam at some point this year and was not an April Fool's joke, even though it was just the year prior. So, question for the panel. Was this a smart marketing move to announce the game on April Fool's Day, just a year after pranking gamers with the very same announcement? And are you looking forward to this game? And will there be a market for Neo Classic arcade games? So, Ed, I got to start with you, knowing your love and history with arcade games. What do you think of all this?
I was ecstatic. I seen it on Nintendo Life and I hurry up posted to the Nintendo News. I was like, look, everybody, look. When I seen the game in play, it was just like, okay, this is Gundam Power Ranger stuff meets one of my favorite genres, shoot 'em ups. And so I was excited about this. The April Fool jokes this year wasn't really funny, so I was just like, whatever. But seeing this one, I'm so excited. I love the way that the game looks. I'm glad that Platinum is actually doing something different because, for people who don't know, near Automata for PlayStation, they had a shoot 'em up kind of style portion in that game. So if Platinum took ideas from that and incorporated in this game, it's about to be fun, and I'm so excited. I love when Platinum does something different, and this game looks a ball. It's probably gonna be harder than ever, but I'm going to be into this game, and I hopefully it comes to a physical. If not, I'll be buying the digital. Like once I see the pre-order date, bing, I'm buying it right there.
Yeah, Ed, I definitely had a feeling you were going to be excited about this, knowing your taste in games. Becca, I know that you mentioned in the pre-show that you got your start with the Super Nintendo, and you definitely have a connection to classic games. Are you a fan of shoot 'em up games? And any thoughts on this story in terms of how they marketed it?
So I actually I hadn't I've never I'm not super familiar with these games and not super big in the shoot 'em up game genre.
Mm.
I'm more of
Mhm.
a like 3D platformer type of person, but I really appreciate that they pranked us and then they were like, "Oh, people really want this." And then they like
Mhm.
it's almost like they like, "Okay, we hear you. Here you go." And I think it's kind of fun that they like actually announced it like on the anniversary of when they pranked everyone. So I thought that was kind of fun, kind of cool.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. How often do people in the gaming community just beg these producers to actually listen to fans? And here's an example of them doing it in a really funny way.
Well,
Yeah.
Um,
it's funny because Way Forward did the same thing with this. Like they had one of this game, like this girl, she was in space in a cat, and they joked about it, and people really got excited about it. And Way Forward made the game for PC. They couldn't believe on how much money they could be making off this game. So
and Dan, I know that you don't have a strong opinion on this, but I do have one question for you. Do you think that there is room in the market for these kind of neo classic arcade style games, or is this kind of backwards thinking for companies?
I like the idea of it. I mean, I feel like these type of games are kind of perfect for the Switch hardware and taking it on the go. I personally like arcade games because they're quick to play. So like if I have 5 minutes to take out my Switch and play an arcade game, I'm gonna go for it. Um, so I'm all for it. The more the better when it comes to gaming.
Hmm. Yeah, and you bring up a good point. I think Switch has found a way to get little footholds in various parts of the market,
hmm
and with the portability being such a feature, right, of this generation of console for Nintendo, it's a smart move. All right, well, our next story comes from the Fortnite team via epicgames.com. There's a GPU performance and resolution boost for Fortnite on Nintendo Switch. So beginning March 30th, so just a few days ago, this is their press release. We're releasing an update to enhance our player experience for the Nintendo Switch. Specifically, we're upgrading the renderer on the Nintendo Switch to make better use of the console's GPU. So, what does this mean for Switch players? The update provides significantly improved resolution both in handheld and dock modes, resulting in images that are less blurry without the loss of performance. The update also provides more consistent frame rate with fewer hitches, resulting in smoother overall experience. Fortnite on Switch will still use dynamic resolution when needed to ensure a consistent frame rate, but this will occur less frequently, and overall resolution will be significantly higher. Additionally, Switch players are going to save about 140 megabytes of storage with the new update. So, for our whole panel, and Dan, we'll definitely start with you. What are your reactions to the story? Why is Epic now investing more resources in the graphical performance on Switch? Is it simply just time for this kind of thing, or is this yet another signal that a Switch Pro is coming and that industry regulars are aware of this not so well kept secret? What do you think? Does this fit into that narrative?
Yeah, that's where I was gonna go with that. I'm not a Fortnite player, but I mean that is super exciting for the Fortnite players, right? To like be able to play it with that higher resolution and everything. Um, like for me, Xenoblade 2 is one of my favorite games, but in handheld mode, the performance is pretty bad. So like I love to see the developers actually um, do this for their fans. And you know what, it could be just another thing for the Switch Pro, and we'll probably see it at 720 on Switch Pro. So this is awesome.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Ed, any thoughts on this?
Um, I I think this is good that Epic is doing this. It I think what happened for most of Fortnite is that they focus on the other consoles and even PC because they may have a bigger player base. And now they probably got caught up with that work to make time to do the Switch version for it. But it's a good thing. And definitely the way the state that Apex Legend is in on Switch. I think this is going to bring more players back to Fortnite on Switch to play. So that this is a great thing that they're doing this.
I know that I play Fortnite with my kids a lot, and I've mentioned that. But when my son plays on Xbox, the graphics are always so much better, and I'm always kind of shocked at the texture differences there. But I do think that there's something to pay attention to here, that all these companies are now prioritizing performance on Switch, and it does make me wonder. And I'm curious, Becca, if are you suspicious at all about a Switch Pro coming? Are you buying into these rumors? Do you see this as part of that?
Yeah, I was about to say I think a lot of this is definitely in preparation of the Pro. I know like Fortnite and a couple other like big multiplayer games are really need to step up their game in order to keep the length of their lifespan going on to the next console. So I feel like that's probably what this is.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you, panel, for that. We are going to move on to our next story. Among Us is getting a quote full art style revamp and feature update. So this is from TheVerge.com. Quote, Among Us is changing up its look. Developer Innersloth said that its plans have, quote, completely updated the art style with cleaner lines and easier animation process. Since becoming the breakout hit of 2020, Innersloth has refocused its effort on improving and updating the game, even going so far as to cancel a planned sequel. In a press release, Innersloth said it was also expanding its lobby size to include up to 15 players. The developer added that it plans to give players more frequent, transparent updates in an effort to teach players more about the game's behind the scenes. And then the game also did just get a new map. It's the airship on all platforms. The map is the game's fourth and adds new tasks, including emptying the trash, polishing jewels, as well as additional hats and skins. This also includes the so-called chocolate ice cream hat that looks suspiciously like poop. So, for our consideration for the panel, this full art style revamp seems to be part of a larger push to refresh Among Us. Is the game becoming stale, and do you think they can continue to reinvent or expand it to make it part of the forever game model that's out there with franchises like Call of Duty, Fortnite, etc.? So, Becca, we'll start with you. I know you were just kind of talking about the lifespan of games just a moment ago. What do you think about the lifespan of Among Us, and do you see this as sort of trying to address that?
Yeah, I think I honestly like I don't know how everyone else feels. I know Among Us is really popular right now, but I don't really think it needs a sequel per se. So yeah, just something to keep it alive because I feel like the focus of Among Us is the people you're playing with and like the interaction that you have with the other players. So just giving it a little bit of a refresh sounds like a just an easy way to keep it going. And I'm so excited to play that new map. I missed the Otter Kingdom's last community game night because I was helping my mom out. So I'm excited to get back in and play this weekend.
All right, Dan, what about you? Reactions to this, and are you at all surprised that they canceled the sequel?
No, I'm not surprised that they canceled the sequel. I mean, why? Like their servers are flooded all the time. I am a little well, I haven't seen it yet, but I prefer the art style that it has right now. I think it's so iconic to the game. Like, why would you even change it? It's just like I don't know. When I think of Among Us, I think of the little bean guys bouncing around, and it's like if it's not broken, why fix it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my opinion on it. But I am interested to see the bigger lobbies and stuff. I think that'll be cool.
Can I ask something really quick? At first I was like, don't change it. Like, what are you doing? Don't mess with this art style. But I can't tell. It almost sounds like they're not like going away from it completely. Like, I don't think they're gonna it doesn't sound like they're going to completely redesign it. So as long as they keep that cute little like simple art style too, I think it's fine. But I
Right.
agree. I don't want them to change it too much.
So I think that's an interesting point that you bring up. And Dan, I will bounce back to you for just a minute. I almost that like low budget look that they had before, is that almost a brand thing for them at this point with how much they got and kind of their story out of nowhere? Is that kind of what you're getting at when you talk things, or?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much iconic to Among Us, you know? It's a cartoon drawing, like when you're flipping the switches for the electricity on and off and like emptying the garbage chutes. Like it's cool just cartoon art, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Ed,
agree.
what about
I
you?
agree with that.
Go ahead, Becca.
I
Uh,
was just gonna say I agree.
so the art style that Among Us is using is kind of similar to the Behemoth's Alien Hominid, when it was a flash game. It had these kind of black out, rough kind of edges and everything. And if anyone needs to like compare it, go check out Alien Hominid and then look at Among Us. I think I agree with you, Becca, that they're just going to clean it up, clean up the line. So it's going to be a little bit more detailed. I think the color is going to have a little bit more shading and be a little bit more vibrant and stuff, because it does have that old 1990s flash game quality in its art style. So as a brand, it's not a brand to Among Us, because the Behemoth uses this art style for their games. It's just that Among Us got a similar feel to it. And so that's it's not a bad thing that they're changing it up. I like when someone is willing to be like, yeah, we're gonna clean up our art style, we're gonna upgrade it and give it a fresh new look and stuff, because um sometimes that helps the longevity of games. That this look is gonna really bring in more people. So people who weren't interested because they didn't like how the game looked, they may see now and be like, okay, I might play this because this looks really detailed, and they might give it a go. So it's a good thing.
I mean, I would agree that a refresh is probably the correct move over a sequel, because I think, as you guys pointed out, why does it need a sequel? That doesn't really make much sense.
It,
Just do more content.
yeah,
But what I would say though, quickly, is just I do think Innersloth needs to have a plan about what comes next, and that's where I'm a little bit surprised that they canceled a sequel. And again, ultimately, I think it was the right move here, but does this become kind of a one-hit wonder for them, and age over time, like so many other sort of iconic things of certain eras that we look back on and think, oh, yeah. Do you remember the 2020s when everybody was playing Among Us? Or will it have some longevity that goes beyond it? So I'll give you the last word, Ed.
I think it would have a longevity because Rocket League was almost like this, where it didn't really have much to it, but then when it came to console and it got popular, it started having a longevity. It's look how it is now. It's still most a popular game. I think with them trying to do a sequel, they didn't even put that many maps in this game, and people are just now giving this due chance. So I give it 4 more years, 3 or 4 more years. Once you see the player base drop, then start working on the sequel or getting the sequel out. Don't do it now while because they just won all these awards. So why would you go
Mhm.
into a sequel for a game you didn't really put a lot of maps in and have a lot of diversity in it and stuff? If they got great ideas, do it on this one, and then when it's ready to go to do the second one at the player base drop, go ahead and do the sequel.
All right. Well, we're going to get to our last story today, and I have a feeling the panel will have a lot to say about this. So, this is a Capcom press release from Capcom.com. Monster Hunter Rise surpasses 5 million units globally. And here's what Capcom had to say. The Monster Hunter series consists of hunting action games that pit players against giant monsters in a beautiful natural environment. Beginning with the first title in 2004, the series established a new genre in which players cooperate to hunt ferocious monsters with their friends, and has since grown into a global phenomenon with cumulative sales of the series exceeding 66 million units shipped as of December 31, 2020. So that predates Rise. Monster Hunter Rise is an all-new Monster Hunter title for Nintendo Switch. The game was developed with Capcom's proprietary Re-engine in order to provide a new accessible Monster Hunter experience that can be enjoyed anytime, anywhere, with anyone. In addition to new hunters and locales, the game also provides a completely fresh take on hunting experience through a host of new, exhilarating hunting actions made possible with the wire bug. With this, players can traverse terrain at high speeds and even bind monsters and control them. Further adding to the excitement is the debut of the new canine hunters called Palamutes. Additionally, Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin, a new role-playing game that will feature elements that link with Monster Hunter Rise, is scheduled for release on July 9th, 2021. What is more, Capcom will roll out a wide variety of initiatives that go beyond the scope of the games to continue to increase brand value. These include the series' first Hollywood film adaptation, Monster Hunter, which is being met with success worldwide, as well as a character, merchandising, and apparel. Capcom today has announced that Monster Hunter Rise for Nintendo Switch has shipped 5 million units worldwide. So that was a press release acknowledging this. And I'd like to ask our panel, think about for a minute, are you surprised at all by these numbers and how quick they are, what they are? And I think more importantly, just how big can the Monster Hunter franchise get? What are your predictions for the total units sold for Rise? So Dan, we'll start with you this time. What do you think?
I think it's awesome that it's selling really well. Personally, Monster Hunter hasn't totally clicked for me just yet, but I can see the sales doing so well because the community is so great. It's just kind of a community where everybody's bouncing off of each other. There's really no gatekeeping, and everybody's trying to bring each other in. And I think even like the multiplayer hunts and everything, they're so user friendly to everybody that hunts together because everybody gets their own items. And then whoever's hosting, they're the only ones that their hunter rank goes up. But most of the game is just collecting items to build your armor, build your weapons and everything. So I think they just kind of really nailed down that multiplayer aspect of it. And then just with like the community being so awesome about the game and just kind of almost doing the advertising for Capcom. None of these numbers surprise me at all. And I wouldn't be surprised if this game actually ends up being one of the top 10 sellers on Switch.
Give me a number.
12 million.
When all is said and done, 12 million?
12 million.
All right. Becca, what about you? I know you guys have been doing some streaming with this. What are your reactions to the story and just how big can the Monster Hunter brand get?
Yeah, I feel like I'm about to get kicked off of the stream because I don't actually play Monster Hunter, but I am starting to get into it with Rise, and then with Stories 2 coming out. I'm actually gonna play through Stories on the 3DS. I picked up a copy of it.
Yes.
Because Galutrad was like, I think you'll like Stories. Why don't you like try it out? So I am not a big person into it as far as like that goes. However, oh my gosh, like the amount of support from the fans, and like Dan was saying, like the lack of toxic energy, just completely like, please play, please get in this, please come hang out with us and hunt. That's so cool to see, especially right now when everything gets taken so seriously. As fun as Pokemon is, that community is sometimes a lot, and I love Pokemon. I'm right there with them, but yeah, so it's really nice to see like it bringing people together, almost like Animal Crossing did last year. It's a very different type of game, obviously, but cool seeing it happen.
And could you give us a number?
Oh no, I don't do numbers. I just looked at Breath of the Wild because I was like, oh, 5 million. I wonder how many Breath of the Wild sold. I think probably I could see it being in like the top 10 too. I don't know what number it would be, but it's definitely hit big and fast so far. So I'm sure it's gonna just grow from here.
All right. And Ed, before you answer, and I want to get your number as well. Do you agree that, this claim that Capcom is making, that they have invented a new genre of game? Do you agree with that statement?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, because you said, hold on, Eddie, before you answer.
Well, I just wanted to just setting it up there, Ed. So, you're somebody that's played a ton of genres of games, right? you have a very long history with games. It just this is a pretty big claim for Capcom to make, and I'm wondering if you agree with that. Is Monster Hunter a new genre of game?
It's not so much a new genre of games. I think people are just giving it the is recognizing it because Monster Hunter has been out and it's been popular in Japan, but definitely depending on what era that you played the Monster Hunter series, you're going to be a fan or not. Like Monster Hunter didn't appeal to a lot of people on the PS2. They didn't really Monster Hunter didn't get big, and this is just my opinion, until it came to Nintendo. Like Monster Hunter 4 sold 3DSs. People were getting, the system for that game, and it just blew up out of nowhere. Definitely with Fire Emblem Awakening joining it. Seeing this number and seeing that people are enjoying Rise like they enjoy World, it's great because now people could actually. I wish there was a way for people to go back and try the older games, but it's a great community that's getting people into the game and helping them out. So that was making those numbers. They're just now recognizing the franchise of what it really is. So I'm happy about that. Um,
And do you have a number for us?
I actually do. I think they're going to do probably 7 or 8 million. And this is the reason why I say that Monster Hunter. Every time they came out with a game, they have always been dedicated to one system. Monster Hunter World is the only game that came out multi-platinum. Not platinum.
Platform.
Multi-platform. Yeah.
Hmm.
So to see that Rise is doing these numbers, or definitely on the Nintendo Switch, um, I think it could grow once more content come out. Like just think about it. What if you could hunt monsters from the Legend of Zelda series? What if you could hunt a dragon that looked like King Koopa? Like if Nintendo gets some exclusive stuff from their brands, think of a hunt doing Mother Brain or Craig or something
Oh
like that.
man, that would be a
Like
great crossover.
exactly. If Nintendo could really get some stuff into Monster Hunter along with Capcom, man, it would be bunkers, and that would jump up more sales to this game. Of course, it wouldn't be on PC when it comes out, but to have that exclusivity, yeah, I can see that number jumping up to 7 or 8 million, or something.
Okay, quick follow up, Ed. You're saying 7 to 8 million. Would that justify a dedicated console though, like the Monster Hunter Switch? That I mean, is that kind of promotion warranted for a game that only sells 7 or 8 million? I mean, only is you know.
Yeah, yes, because if World only came out to one console, it will only do that number. It wouldn't do the 16 plus million without the multiple consoles.
But I mean, but like
Oh,
that specialty, like you can buy the Monster Hunter branded Switch, right? That has that
mhm.
special custom pack. I mean, that just seems like a lot of money to dump into a promotion for a game that's only going to sell 7 million copies.
As long as it's selling a certain amount and they get their money back, because don't forget, Japan could Japan could easily make that money up that Capcom is missing.
Hmm.
If American sales stop, Japan could make that up. Don't forget, Monster Hunter in Japan, they ran out of sales the first day it came out. We
Hmm.
still had the game, but the thing it physical, and this is physical sales. They sold out of physical media in Japan on day one. And
Hmm.
and we haven't even gotten to the digital numbers that can add more to this.
So yeah, I think you make some good points there, Ed. And by the way, I was just going to Ed because
Oh,
he wrote a fantastic piece on our Bosch Rush Games website about his top 10 favorite consoles of all time. So you should definitely check that out about custom consoles. I tend to think the numbers are going to be higher though. I think that the game, they've already promised a lot of updates. They seem to be building a community about it.
mhm.
And there is something magical about multiplayer online games with a portable Switch. That seems to be a really winning formula, and I could definitely see this, hitting the 15 million in sales mark. That's really what I think. So
And
we go
oh,
ahead.
just quick. With Nintendo's new net code for their online service, this is the beta was kind of the test, and this is like literally proving that it works wonders.
I
So
haven't
if
had an ounce of issues online with Monster Hunter. It's been flawless.
yeah, and people are enjoying it. Like they're literally enjoying it. They don't care about the 60 frames and the 4K, they care about the hunt with people.
LaRon
And
might have a word for you.
even LeBron, I think even LeBron kind of. I mean, LeBron, of course, LeBron gonna get on PC and jack it up and make it look and beautiful. But no one has complained about the graphics. No one's complained about the online, the frame rate. Everybody just like, hey, I'm hunting. Come in my lobby. Here's the
Mhm.
password, and people go and they help.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter if you are a bad player or a good player, if you're knowledgeable or not. It's all about the hunt. Beat that mug down, steal what you can, and just don't faint. That's all they care for. And having fun.
Well, we're gonna wrap this up, but my final comment here: I just watched the Monster Hunter movie here this weekend, and it was all right. I think they better stick to the game if they want to build their brand. That's my 2 cents on that. Dan, do you have something from the chat for us? It looks like we have some people commenting.
Yeah, there's just a lot of good commenting going on. It seems like our chat is really all about the Monster Hunter game, but Jackie Loops has specifically said that it's a game that's really bringing the community together, which I think is pretty much sums up what Monster Hunter is right now, and people are still catching on and still buying the game and getting into it. So, yeah.
Boy, that's two fantastic community-based games then for Nintendo in the last year with Animal Crossing, like you mentioned, Becca, and now Monster Hunter Rise. Well, Ed, that's been our news segment, so I'm going to throw it back over to you.
Okay. David just missed the Monster Hunter movie, and it literally is my movie of the year right now.
Oh,
I
God.
love
Ed.
that
Oh.
movie.
Oh man, that ice cold take just froze my computer. I love it.
Everybody,
So Ed likes movies that don't have an ending to them,
I,
basically, is what
I,
you're hearing there.
I'm just saying, go read my Twitter commentary about Monster Hunter, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I seen it in the 4K version, so it looked really good. So good fun, dumb popcorn movie, I would say. Well, everybody, thank you, David, for the family news. We are going to get into our dark mode edition, and everybody just get ready for this one. Well, the time has come. We heard the people, and we are going to rank the Legend of Zelda series. So, Dan, take it away.
All right, everybody. So, if you tuned into our episode on March 10th, where we ranked all the definitive Mario games, there was a lot of clamoring going on in the chat about Zelda. So, Nintendo didn't really celebrate the Zelda anniversary. So, here we are to celebrate it for them. We are going to rank all of the mainline Zelda games here. So we're going to do it the same way we did it before, where we're going to have a game that's a baseline. So, for example, the very first Zelda for Nintendo system, we're going to use that as our base. Then we're just going to take the next game and we're going to vote if it's better or if it's worse. So we're going to keep voting this way. We're going to come up with a list. And since we have 4 people on our panel, if we have a tie, we're going to defer to the chat. So shout out to the chat right now. We have Jackie Loops, Looming Vengeance. We have Stephanie. We have Brody. We have Shane. We have a lot of people in the chat right now, and a lot of them are avid Zelda players. So this is right up their wheelhouse, and they're going to help us out if we end up having a tie. And then the other rule with this as well is, if we use a game like Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask or Wind Waker that all have different versions, basically we're going to consider it one game. You just vote on your favorite version of that game. So if I say Ocarina of Time, you can vote, as if it's the Nintendo 64 version or the remake for 3DS. And last rule for this, we are going to vote first on the console games. Then we're going to do the handheld games, and we're going to take the top 2 from both definitive lists, and we're going to do a final 4. So, any questions, you guys? And are you ready?
Only question is that will people hate me after my ranking? And yes,
Yes.
I'm ready.
And before we get started, we'll give a few dishonorable mentions to the CDI games. I'm sorry, you are not included.
Yes.
All right. So we are going to get started with the console games. We're going to start at the very beginning for Legend of Zelda for Nintendo. Anybody have anything to just say about this game? It was the first Zelda I played, so it has a special place in my heart. How about you guys?
I wrote a blog about this, about, just watching the intro of the game, hearing the music and reading the story and stuff. So just like you, Dan, like when it came out, this was my first game. And I love the fact that it was a cartridge and gold painting. Like
Mm,
I've never seen that as a kid to
Mhm.
represent
mm.
the Triforce in the series. So it holds a special place in my heart.
All right.
Let me just jump in really quick. I gotta say too that it's a game that represents another era, an era that's gone now in gaming, where there is not only no hand holding, but they're like smashing your hand with a hammer because that game. If you didn't have a community of people to talk to about it. I mean, like you might never find some of the dungeons. Like
Yes.
it really required trial and error, and a lot of what we do online now of like sharing knowledge and things like that and walkthroughs had to just be done with your buddy down the street, right? And together you might be able to, and not to mention that, but having to like hand draw a map or keep track of things yourself because all you had was this really fuzzy square in the top corner of the screen. So it's definitely an ode to a bygone era in gaming.
Rebecca, anything?
It is a game that I have not beaten yet. I am a big rage quitter, and it is rage inducing, and I have not beaten it yet. But I will beat. That's why, Ed, I really admire you because you play all these ridiculous games and win. And I'm like, how does he do this? Um, I will beat it one day. It will not be this year. It probably will not be next year. But it is a game that I admire for what it is, for setting up the greatest series of all time.
All right. So that's our entry point, and let's get started. All right. Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Is this better than the original Zelda? Ed,
No.
David. Oh my
I'm
God.
gonna say no, but here let me just explain. I finally beat Zelda 2 when I used the rewind feature and cheated my ass off on Nintendo Switch Online, and it gave me a new appreciation for the game. So I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be, but no, it's not better than the first one.
Rebecca?
No, it's not better than the first one. I can't believe you had to think about that.
Yeah. I
Fight
can't
it,
believe David had to think about that.
fight
All
it
right.
with a butter knife and the localization in that game. No.
Oh my God. All right. So moving on. Next one up is Link to the Past from Super Nintendo. Is this better than the original? Ed,
100% yes.
David,
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So next up, Ocarina of Time. Better or worse than the original Zelda? We'll start with you, Rebecca.
Yes.
It's better?
It is better. Yes.
David.
Wait, hold on. So this is better than the original, not better than the one that we've ranked above it, right? So like we've ranked Link to the Past above the
This
original. So
this is the
we're
original.
still
So right
okay.
now we have A Link to the Past, the original, and then Zelda 2. We're always going to start in the middle and work
Okay.
our way up or down.
All right. Well, then I will say yes.
Ed?
100% yes.
Okay. Um, I'm going to say yes. So now is Ocarina of Time better than A Link to the Past? David?
No,
Ah,
not even close.
Ed?
yes.
Ugh.
Ooh, I'm going to vote no. I don't think it's better than Link to the Past.
Are you
Rebecca?
serious?
No, it's not.
Wait, what? Are you
No.
serious?
Let's hear it, Ed.
Ocarina of Time has not only enhanced 3D gaming, people wouldn't have the lock-on system. You wouldn't have the dungeons that it had. You wouldn't have the music like like people play the music of the fairies from Ocarina of Time. Like the remix, like a whole bunch of the cover stuff has started from Ocarina of Time, and it got in the Legend of Zelda series has gotten popular because of that. You wouldn't have a lot of ideas that is in Ocarina of Time. You wouldn't have that in a lot of modern games that's still going on today. So how could you guys just say no? It's not better than you go ahead and fight that one block monster and keep falling off, and let's see if you enjoyed that in the Link to the Past. When you fall down 15 million times just trying to fight that boss, and you guys want to accept that? Nah. Ocarina of Time, 100%.
So Ocarina of Time is now second on our list. There are no strong opinions about this, apparently. Next one up, we're gonna do Majora's Mask. Is this better or worse than the original Zelda?
Yes.
Rebecca, David said yes.
Yes.
Becca, yes. Ed,
Which game?
the original Legend of Zelda.
What game is going against the Majora's Mask?
Majora's Mask.
Your favorite?
No, the Legend of Zelda is better than the Majora's Mask.
I'm gonna vote no. I think the original is better. So we're gonna have to defer to the chat. Which one is better, the original Legend of Zelda or Majora's Mask?
Right answers only.
And remember, you are on a time limit in that game, trying to find some mask over and over.
I loved the concept of Majora's Mask, but it just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't click with me.
Now, I told David and Becca, I'm telling you this: if they did a Switch version, if they brought it out for Switch as a collection with Ocarina of Time, my $60 will already be there at Best Buy trying to get this game. And if they do a collection pack with a Zelda Pro controller, that's go. I will be having that too.
All right.
So, can we get Jacob in on this? Is he?
Jacob's gonna say it's better.
So our producer Jacob, we are
The chat is split right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Majora's Mask is absolutely better than the original Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a final vote. Thanks, Jacob. The panel was split, the chat was split, and now we're
Oh,
Jacob
yeah.
is the
Oh yeah, you're
defining
welcome.
factor.
welcome.
I love you, Jacob.
Thanks for jumping in, Jacob.
Yes.
All right, so now it's Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time, 100%. 100%. Majora's Mask would not be here if not for Ocarina of Time.
David?
Well, I mean, they made a better game in 12 months by making Majora's Mask than they did however long they developing Ocarina of Time. It's a better story, deeper side quest. I mean, not to mention how like philosophical the game is and worthy of discussion. The music is better. There's no contest here. Majora's Mask is a better game.
I just...
Rebecca.
I'm trying to fight my nostalgia, you guys. I'm gonna say Majora's Mask.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right, chat. It is split 50-50 again. Is Majora's Mask better than Ocarina of Time?
I can't believe you are choosing some side quest sequel over the original. Like
side quest sequel.
Like how?
All right. Votes are coming in, and it looks like Ocarina is going to take this one. So right now we have Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, original Zelda, and then Lonely Zelda 2 at the bottom.
Ocarina, yes.
All right, so moving on. Four Swords Adventure for the GameCube. I haven't played this one, so I'm going to take a step off on the voting for it. Guys, is this better than Zelda, the original one for Nintendo? Rebecca?
I haven't played, unless I'm allowed to say no, just because.
Can I jump in on this? Because I actually think you should be allowed to say no if you haven't played it, and here's why. They made this game incredibly difficult to play, and I think that's a really important criticism of it, is they wanted it to be a Zelda multiplayer experiment, and the experiment failed, but I actually hope that they bring it back on the Switch because I think it could be the redemption story for this game on Switch
Yeah.
where we have that online capability. But I mean, unless you were willing to like hook up 3 Game Boy Advances to your GameCube, like it literally costs like $1,000 then to play the game the way it's intended to be played. And as a result, like I don't see how it could be better when it's so hard to get to be able to play it the way it's intended. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying no because of that. It it was it's not really a canon game. It was just something Nintendo was doing for multiplayer, and I guess they couldn't. I don't know why they didn't add just the other 3 GameCube controllers to do it or something. So
And I got to
I'm
push
saying,
back on that, Ed. It is definitely part of the canon. In fact, for our discussion here, I brought my official Zelda timeline guide right here,
yes,
and it
yes.
is absolutely on the timeline. So we
Well,
can't say it's not canon.
I think I guess I'm going to canon as it doesn't feel like it has the traditional story. Like you go to different dungeons in linear ways and stuff. I'm thinking of that the gameplay layout is what I'm thinking.
Fair
Okay,
enough.
let's keep it going, guys. So it looks like that one's gonna be worse than the original Zelda. Zelda 2 or Four Swords Adventure?
Four Swords is better than Link's 2. I'm sorry.
Zelda 2.
I'm gonna say Zelda 2.
Zelda 2 it is.
Wow.
All right. So moving on. Twilight Princess is the next one. Majora's Mask has made its way to the middle area, so that's going to be our starting point now. So is Twilight Princess better than Majora's Mask? Yes or no? Ed.
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
David.
This is a really tough one for me because I love both games so much. I'm going to have to say Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess for me. Now, is it better than Ocarina of Time? Rebecca.
Yes.
David, Twilight Princess or Ocarina?
It's a superior version of Ocarina of Time, so yes.
Ed.
Yes.
I'm with you guys. Twilight Princess or Link to the Past? Ed.
Twilight Princess.
I'm going to vote Twilight Princess. Rebecca?
Twilight Princess.
And David.
Link to the Past.
Vote goes 3-1. Twilight Princess is our top rated Zelda right now. Didn't see that coming.
Which is weird. Yeah.
Twilight Princess.
But it's like David said, it's the better version of Ocarina of Time. Everything Ocarina did, Twilight Princess did better.
Yep. Yeah.
Wind Waker. Ed.
Oh yes.
I didn't even give you.
I don't care what he was about to give it. Yes.
Ed's just yes.
Ed is yes. Rebecca, is Wind Waker better than Majora's Mask?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
All right. We're going to move on to Ocarina of Time. David?
Is Wind Waker better than Ocarina of Time? Is that what you're
Yep.
asking?
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes. Wind Waker is better than. Yeah.
I draw the line there. I think Ocarina is better. Link to the Past or Wind Waker? Ed?
Wind Waker still.
Rebecca?
Link to the Past.
David?
Link to the Past.
And I'm voting Link to the Past.
Wait, what?
Ed's having a rough night.
Let's hear it, Ed. Let's hear it.
Oh my goodness, the fight in the castle when you unfreeze time. Fighting the ghosts where you could just like roll them into a ball pin and all the ghosts fall out and they dance around and you smacking them like crazy. Like there's so many dungeons and just going on there, and the cell shading in this game is phenomenal.
The artwork is amazing in this game.
With the music, like, and then grandma getting her soup and buttering up and just like
Grandma did it for Ed.
And then the ending shot, and I can't ruin it because of people who have not played this game. The ending shot has become iconic to the Legend of Zelda series. And so if you think that is lower than Link to the Past, you are I am baffled.
Well, this is the objective list, Ed. So this is the definitive list for everybody. Nothing else matters. Okay.
I am baffled because
We're gonna move on to Skyward Sword, the one with the motion controls. So Ocarina of Time is now right in the middle. Guys, Skyward Sword or Ocarina of Time? We'll start with you, Rebecca.
Don't do that to me.
Oh, I did it.
I'm really about to get thrown off. I actually feel like Skyward Sword is better than Ocarina of Time. And I think the motion controls distract from that. So I'm excited to see how it does with the remake.
All right. David?
I'm no fan of Ocarina of Time, but I am going to vote Ocarina of Time here, and here's why. Skyward Sword is the most linear handheld game of the whole series, and I think it got away from what makes Zelda Zelda, which is the ability to explore in an open world style environment. And for the time, Ocarina of Time really did create that sense of this big open world, even though it's really just a hub with these little rooms extending off of it. It feels like this great big world. So I got to go with Ocarina of Time.
Ed?
Skyward Sword. Because this game, like, I love the artwork, I love the characters, kind of love the stories, love. Is it Fee?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Fee, and I love the fact that when I got it on Wii, it came with the soundtrack, like the symphony, and it's still in great condition. And you're talking about some music, mwah,
And that
mwah.
gold Wii Motion remote.
Yeah,
that was the first like I'm an adult, I have a job purchase that I made. So
Yeah, and
I'm
the villain is good.
yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna vote for Ocarina of Time. Just my personal opinion. I thought Skyward Sword, the motion controls actually didn't bother me that much, but I just felt like it was lazy going back to the same areas 3 times, and the planets are empty. It was just like such a boring, unexciting game, even though it had probably one of the better stories out of all the Zelda titles. But it was just like the game itself didn't do it for me. So we're going to the chat, who already started voting because they knew I was going to go against this.
And I'm not this game. I'm not mad about if Ocarina beats it. Because like I said, Ocarina has done much than Skyward Sword. I just enjoyed Skyward Sword for what it's done, and as that person in that era when I played that game, it just did something different for me. So
yeah, it looks like Ocarina of Time is going to take over for the chat. So we're going to go downwards now. Skyward Sword or Majora's Mask? Ed, we'll start with you.
Skyward Sword.
David.
Majora's Mask.
Rebecca.
Majora's Mask.
I'm going to go with Majora's Mask as well. Skyward Sword or the original Zelda? Rebecca.
Skyward Sword.
David.
Skyward Sword.
I'm going to go with the original Zelda. Ed.
The Legend of Zelda, the original.
All right. So
it's a tie.
It's a tie, right?
You got to go to the chat. Got to go to the chat.
Ed, I can't believe that you just said all of that about Skyward Sword and then voted for the original Legend of Zelda.
Because I think, even though I love Skyward Sword, don't get me wrong, Legend of Zelda, the original one, has a place in my heart as a kid and still to this very day. If I played it on Switch Online, I'm going to play it all the way through. I love the dungeons. I love looking for the sword and stuff and fighting the pancake enemies and stuff. Like, I still love all that and collecting it. And I think Skyward Sword, as great as it is, it just... It doesn't have a big place in my heart like Legend of Zelda has, in a sense. Like, I love the game, but it just doesn't have that kind of place in my heart.
Gotcha.
So
It looks like the chat is going to vote for Skyward Sword, so we're going to put that above the original Zelda. Let's just go over the standings right now from bottom to the top. Four Swords, or whatever that game is. Four Swords is last.
Adventures.
Four Swords Adventures is last. Zelda 2 Adventures of Link is second to last. Then we have the original Zelda, Skyward Sword, Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, and our top three are 3 is Wind Waker, 2 is A Link to the Past, and 1 is Twilight Princess right now.
yes.
All right, so we only got a few more games left, guys. We're gonna go with Hyrule Warriors. Right now, we'll do Hyrule Warriors or Skyward Sword. David, which one's better?
We're talking the definitive edition Hyrule Warriors, right? Not Age of Calamity.
Not Age of Calamity.
Okay, it's Hyrule Warriors over what? What's the other one?
Skyward Sword.
I gotta go Skyward Sword.
Hyrule Warriors over Skyward Sword.
Rebecca?
Skyward Sword, 100%.
I'm
Really?
going Skyward Sword, yeah.
Wait, what? Wait, wait. The action, the butt rock music, like that game is amazing. All those characters, and I love the story. And being able as Ganon kicking tail, like, real. What?
Did you say butt rock music?
Yes.
I thought
All
I
right,
heard
just
that too.
checking. All right, is Hyrule Warriors better than the original Legend of Zelda? Ed,
Yes.
Rebecca,
No.
David.
Hey,
No.
I'm gonna go with no. Oh, this is good. Zelda 2 Adventure of Link or Hyrule Warriors? David.
I'm gonna go Zelda 2.
Rebecca.
no, David. I'm gonna say Hyrule Warriors for this one. I can't stand Zelda 2.
I'm gonna vote for Zelda 2. And Ed,
Hyrule Warriors. What are
Chat.
you guys thinking?
I can't believe we actually have to get you to vote on these two games.
See,
but which is better,
Dan, you
Hyrule
said-
Warriors or
Dan set
Zelda
this
2?
one. Dan set this one up to have it be a tie. I know you set this one
Okay,
up.
but here's the thing. A lot of people hate both of those games for different reasons. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what the chat picks here.
You put a lot of hours into Hyrule Warriors, didn't you, David?
Yeah, I think I got a couple hundred hours in that one.
And I
I
played
just think it's a more fun game. Like Zelda 2 just makes me angry. There's no benefit to playing it except unless you just really want to build up a rage.
It looks like Hyrule Warriors is just sweeping the board.
Without
right
a
now.
doubt.
So, yeah, this is.
this is the thing. Hyrule Warriors, you can actually hit people. Zelda 2, you gotta find a hitbox, which is like this small to hit it, to jab them. Like, what you gonna do? Put some butter or some oil on them? Like, you cannot do this with this game.
It's as hard as an Ed's quiz show.
Yeah. There we go.
All right, guys. Next up, the heavy hitter, Breath of the Wild. We're going to start at Majora's Mask. Rebecca, Breath of the Wild or Majora's Mask?
I hate you guys. I have this debate internally. Like my heart hurts. I'm gonna say Breath of the Wild is better than Majora's Mask. I will see you guys later. It was very fun.
Breath of the Wild for me. Ed?
Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
It's my Breath of the Wild's my number one game, so it's Breath of the Wild.
Okay. Ocarina of Time or Breath of the Wild? David?
Easy Breath of the Wild.
Ed?
Breath of the Wild.
I'm going to go Breath of the Wild. Rebecca?
Breath of the Wild.
Wind Waker. Ed? Breath of the Wild or Wind Waker?
Wind Waker.
Rebecca?
Breath of the Wild.
David?
Breath of the Wild.
I'm going Breath of the Wild as well. Link to the Past. Rebecca? Breath of the Wild or Link to the Past?
Breath of the Wild.
David?
This one is so hard for me, but I do think that Breath of the Wild just beats it out.
Ed?
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild. All right, well, is this one going to be number one? Ed, Breath of the Wild or Twilight Princess?
You know what? Twilight Princess.
David,
Put me
Twilight
down
Princess.
for Breath of the Wild.
Rebecca, Breath of the Wild or Twilight Princess?
Breath of the Wild.
This is crazy for me. I'm gonna agree with Ed. Ed and I agree. Here's my rationale. I love Breath of the Wild. I love chat. Please vote Twilight Princess or Breath of the Wild. But I I love Breath of the Wild. It's so fun exploring. It's just like a beautiful game, but the difficulty curve really ends about 1/3 of the way through the game. And it kind of turns into a game where I feel like I'm just managing my weapons versus
Mhm.
having this like difficulty curve that actually challenges me late in the game. Whereas I found myself fighting Lionels with sticks, like to try to give myself some sort of challenge. So I think Twilight. That's why Twilight Princess beats it for me. What about you, Ed?
Twilight Princess beats out Breath of the Wild because of the dungeons. And definitely it has one of my favorite weapons, the spinny Drado, where you are like going up that mountain and how you fight that dragon and stuff. They call it the Drado of Death, and it's so funny that people call it that. But I love the dungeons in that game. Okay, the water dungeon, yeah, it definitely has its problems. But I really enjoyed the dungeon layout and the fight and the boss fights. The thing about Breath of the Wild, as gorgeous as that game is, as perfect as it is, I didn't feel like the boss fights, um, with that mechanic, I didn't feel like the boss fights were kind of fair. They kind of was dragged on long in a way because it you really wasn't sometimes prepared for it in a sense.
Mhm.
And I love exploring it, getting the shrines and like building myself up. But I Twilight Princess, like weapons and their equipment, it's just being kind of like a traditional Zelda game. It just outbeats it at this one. But I still love Breath of the Wild. I just feel like Twilight Princess
Yeah.
is better because of those dungeons.
David, Rebecca, anything to follow up on?
I no, I think that I think that the thing I'm struggling with the most is, what do I love Breath of the Wild more because it's new and shiny and has all these exciting things, or do I miss the linear Zelda games? And at the end of the day, Breath of the Wild, I've put so many hours in that game and I just really love it. So
Awesome. All right. We're going to move on to the game that is quite possibly the bane of my existence.
Wow.
Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. We'll start at Majora's Mask. Panel, is Age of Calamity better or worse than Majora's Mask? Ed.
It is better than Majora's Mask.
Ugh. David.
For once, Ed and I are on the same page. Yes, better.
Rebecca.
yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it better than Majora's Mask.
Oh, wow. Age of Calamity or Ocarina of Time? David.
Age of Calamity.
Rebecca.
Yeah, Age of Calamity.
What? Ed.
Age of Calamity.
What's going on here? Age of Calamity or Wind Waker? Ed.
Wind Waker.
David.
This would be different if you asked me a month ago, but I'm going to say Wind Waker.
Rebecca.
I need to know what happened a month ago. I feel like Age of Calamity still is for me, but I know I'm out now. So
I'm gonna vote for Wind Waker. So Age of Calamity sits in between Wind Waker and Ocarina of Time. So, guys, this is the final list on the console games. We're gonna start from bottom to top. We got the Forward Sword Adventures sitting way at the bottom, Zelda 2. Then we have Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. Then we have the original Zelda, Skyward Sword, Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, Age of Calamity, Wind Waker, and our top three are Link to the Past at 3, Twilight Princess at 2, and Breath of the Wild number 1. And
I can
that,
roll. I can roll with that. I like that.
yeah, that's a good list, guys. Chat, thank you so much for helping out, and we are gonna move on pretty quickly to our our
Handhelds.
handheld ones now. So I'm actually going to take myself out of voting here. I haven't played any of these except for Link's Awakening, so I probably shouldn't be voting on this one. So we'll get started on this. All right, we're going to start with Link's Awakening. So Link's Awakening was on the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy. Just a reminder, guys, if there is a game on here that there's multiple ones, then you just vote on whichever one was your favorite. So Link's Awakening is going to be our starting point. And our next one is Oracle of Seasons. Ed, Oracle of Seasons or Link's Awakening?
Link's Awakening.
David.
I got to go Link's Awakening because the soundtrack is better.
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca.
I'm gonna say Link's Awakening for this one too.
Okay. So we have Link's Awakening, all right, so next one. Link's Awakening or Oracle of Ages? David.
Link's Awakening. I think Ages is the better of the two Oracle games, but I think I got to go Link's Awakening. And I was curious what Jacob thought about Link's Awakening as well.
Link's Awakening is my favorite video game of all time, not just Zelda games. So just for this one, keep tossing it up the list. That's great.
All right, Jacob, sit. We need a fourth panel member on
I will.
handheld consoles. So sit in, hang out with us.
Yep.
All right, so Link's Awakening versus we're on Ages now. So David, you voted Link's Awakening?
For both, yep.
Okay. Jacob, Link's Awakening over Ages?
Absolutely Link's Awakening over Ages.
Ed, Link's Awakening or Oracle of Ages?
Link's Awakening.
And Rebecca?
Well, I vote Oracle of Ages, but I guess I'll just hush.
That's
You can say Ages.
That's
yeah.
You have to cast your vote here.
That was my first Zelda game, you guys. So
Oh, that's a great
awesome.
one.
yeah.
This is great.
All right.
Did you ever play them linked at all with Seasons?
No, because I didn't have friends, remember? So
Mm.
But we do now. We do have friends now, so we can
Yeah.
play it. We actually bought a link cable just for that reason.
Jacob and I might do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. All right. Oracles of Seasons or Oracle of Ages? Jacob.
Ages, definitely.
Ed.
Ages.
David.
Ages.
Rebecca.
Ages, yeah.
All right. So Ages is in the middle for us. Now we're going to go to Four Swords. David. Oracle of Ages or Four Swords?
Well, this can be my same criticism of the GameCube connected game here, and that's that this one is maybe the most difficult Zelda game to find at this point outside of like Tinkle's Rosy Rupee Land. And I've wanted to get my hands on this one forever, and I haven't been able to do it. So I actually haven't played this one, and I'm gonna vote against it because of that.
All right, Rebecca.
No, I'm gonna say no to Four Swords for the same reason. I've never played it. I do have it. But I played it for the A Link to the Past boot over.
Ooh.
So
Which really quick, interesting fact I just learned about it. That Link to the Past that's on the Four Swords Adventure or Four Swords game disc actually has an additional dungeon that the regular Link to the Past does not.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't
See,
know
I haven't
that.
beaten the original one, so now I need to go back and see what was missing. That's awesome.
Nice. Okay, so it looks like we're going to go on to Four Swords or Oracle of Seasons. Ed, what about you?
Oh, I thought you mean Ages. Or are you talking about Seasons?
We're on Seasons now.
Seasons. Seasons. I choose that over Four Swords. I could have brought the game, but I didn't know enough people who had a Game Boy, so I just skipped it.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Jacob?
I have to go with Four Swords. I really wanted to jump in when y'all were talking about Four Swords Adventures because I have very fond memories of 100%ing that with my friends.
Nice.
But no, yeah, Four Swords is an excellent game, and then David is correct. It's very difficult to come by now, but if you can and you play it, it is so good.
David?
Seasons all the way.
And Rebecca.
Seasons, yeah.
Okay, so we'll put Four Swords in the basement.
Womp womp.
Next up is Minish Cap. Um, Ed, Minish Cap or Oracle of Ages?
Aegis.
David, Ages or Minish Cap?
Absolutely Minish Cap.
Jacob, Ages or Minish Cap?
I have to give it to Ages.
Oh,
Rebecca, Ages or Minish Cap?
Ages.
All right. So now it's Minish Cap or Seasons? David,
Minish Cap.
Jacob,
Minish Cap.
Ed,
Minish Cap.
and Rebecca.
Seasons.
All right. Well, Minish Cap takes it. Moving on. Phantom Hourglass. Ed, is Phantom Hourglass or Minish Cap?
Minish Cap.
David.
Well, I gotta say that I have gotten used to the stylus controls. I just played through Phantom Hourglass and I'm playing Spirit Tracks now. But the graphics are so awful in that game, whereas the graphics in Minish Cap actually are really beautiful. Like I think they're
Yeah.
arguably the best handheld graphics for Zelda. So I'm going Minish Cap.
Okay. Rebecca.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Minish Cap because if you thought that Skyward Sword was repetitive as far as going back to the same place over and over, Phantom Hourglass is terrible about that. So Minish Cap.
Jacob.
I have to go with Phantom Hourglass.
All right. Ed, what was your vote?
Minish Cap. I do like
Okay.
I do like Phantom Hourglass, but I love Minish Cap. With the same reasons that you gave, David. I 100% agree with you.
All right.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Phantom Hourglass or Seasons? Rebecca.
Seasons.
David.
Seasons.
Jacob.
Phantom Hourglass still.
Ed.
Phantom Hourglass.
Chat. Oracle of Seasons or Phantom Hourglass? I really feel like I'm missing out on this one.
Phantom Hourglass. It doesn't look great, but it's one of the best gameplay adventures that you can have on the DS. Like it is so perfectly crafted for the DS. We're not about to break up. Don't even with that. I know you love the Ages games, Becca, but or the Oracle games. But Phantom Hourglass, chat. Phantom Hourglass is like the best DS experience that you can have.
Oh no, the chat is split right now. We need.
I would like to remind everyone of the Temple of the Ocean King and how many
Which is
freaking
so
times
good.
you have to play
Which
that.
is so good if you're
No.
not bad at Zelda games.
Excuse me?
Wow.
No. It's terrible.
I will say this about Phantom Hourglass that it did something new for gameplay and it tried to add a lot of ideas. I think with Seasons is that Capcom tried to do something that Nintendo has already done and Nintendo has done it better. So I- don't get me wrong, Capcom did a fantastic job, but I think Nintendo they really did something innovative and really thought out of. They actually tried something, and Capcom didn't really try to make their version of a Zelda game. They just kind of looked at Link to the Past, followed that game plan, and then just added something to it. Ages is great, but Seasons is just like, I'm like, this could have been a Mega Man game in a sense, if you want to really look at it. So that's why I went with Phantom Hourglass.
Oh, I disagree about the Capcom copying Link's Awakening, but that's okay.
Well,
Link's Awakening, I played it way after though.
Way after.
I played it.
All right. So
As an adult,
here's what we're gonna do. I just looked up the ratings on IGN and Phantom Hourglass was rated higher, so we're just gonna.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Oh,
Are you
man.
kidding me?
Oh.
but this is the thing between Seasons and Ages. I think a lot of people lean more to Ages than they did to Season, and I'm not right. And I'm not knocking saying that Season.
including this panel.
Right, I'm not saying that Seasons is a bad game, but when we think of the Oracle versions, everybody goes to Ages first and not Seasons.
Okay,
Alright.
but I mean, they're different games.
Yeah.
Seasons is all about action. It's an action game, and
Mhm.
Ages is a puzzle-solving game. So I
Mhm.
feel like they're really inseparable. We really should be looking at them as one game in a lot of ways. Particularly if you connect them together, there's that unlockable ending where you face 3 final bosses that brings the whole story together. And I would push back that they didn't do anything new. But I'm sorry, Dan. I'm talking over you. Go ahead.
Let's move on to Spirit Tracks. Okay, Spirit Tracks or Minish Cap, David,
Minish Cap.
Jacob,
Minish Cap without a doubt.
Ed,
Minish Cap.
and Rebecca.
Minish Cap.
All right, that's unanimous. Spirit Tracks or Phantom Hourglass, David,
I'm gonna go Phantom Hourglass.
Jacob,
Phantom Hourglass.
Rebecca.
Phantom Hourglass, but I'm saying that begrudgingly.
Ed.
Phantom Hourglass, even though Spirit Tracks does have some nice cover art with
Alright.
it.
Spirit Tracks or Oracle of Seasons, Rebecca.
Seasons.
Ed,
Seasons.
David,
Seasons.
Jacob.
I really want to say Spirit Tracks just to make people mad, but no, Seasons is way better.
All right, and now it's down to Spirit Tracks or Four Swords. David,
Oh, Spirit Tracks, easy.
Ed,
Spirit Tracks.
Oh my god.
Jacob,
4 Swords, man.
Rebecca.
I'm gonna say Spirit Tracks. Sorry, Jacob.
Aw.
Sort of.
Don't be mad just
Alright.
because y'all didn't get to play it.
I am mad.
This is a list built on spite.
It really is.
All right, A Link Between Worlds. A Link Between Worlds or Minish Cap, Ed.
A Link Between Worlds.
David.
This is a really hard one for me. I think the music in A Link Between Worlds is absolutely incredible. They connect to one of my all-time favorite games ever with A Link to the Past. I love the wall blending mechanic, but I think I'm going to have to say Minish Cap.
Okay. Rebecca.
I respect Minish Cap very much. I'm gonna say A Link Between Worlds. That was a highly underrated handheld game. So
Jacob, Link Between Worlds or Minish Cap?
If you would vote so heavily for Link to the Past and not choose Link Between Worlds, which is a better version of A Link to the Past, then you're wrong.
all right.
Oh,
Link,
and
it's
you
Link
gotta
Between Worlds for sure.
and you gotta realize that Link Between Worlds took Game of the Year when it came out.
It did indeed.
All right. Jacob, Link Between World or Ages?
Link Between Worlds.
David, Link Between World or Ages?
Link Between Worlds.
Ed,
Link Between Worlds.
Rebecca.
A Link Between Worlds.
This
All
is
right.
killing you.
It hurts, you guys. It hurts.
Link's
Right.
Awakening or Link Between Worlds? Rebecca.
Oh, don't do this. A Link Between Worlds.
Wow. Jacob.
A Link's Awakening.
Ed.
Link Between Worlds.
No.
David.
Come on, David.
I think I got to go Link's Awakening.
Yes. Oh, chat. Let's go.
Wow.
Why?
Yeah.
Because the music is so
It's
good in that
so
game.
Good.
I mean,
Oh,
there-
Link's Awakening is amazing. It's like a top 3 Zelda in my book.
It is, but I think Link Between Worlds, it made me scream. It made me scream. This is what I want Link to the Past to be, like remade. Like this is it. And I hollered when I played Link Between Worlds because I was just like, whoever made this, just like this needs to sell 18 million copies. I love Link's Awakening. The Switch version, beautiful game. Do not get me wrong. But Link Between Worlds, that's the one right there. That's that
No.
clip right there.
The music is so good. For Valentine's Day last year, I think it was last year, it might have been 2019. I think it was last year though. Becca actually made me a pixel plushy heart that's based off of the heart piece in Link's Awakening. And when you squeeze it, it plays Ballad of the Windfish, and I cry every
goodness.
time I'm not allowed to hug it because I will just bawl because it's so
That's
beautiful.
awesome.
And chat coming in strong.
Chat's coming in strong on Link's Awakening. So Link's Awakening is going to go above A Link Between Worlds.
I can't
Hey.
believe y'all passed up a game of the year for Link's Awakening. Don't get me wrong. Link's Awakening for Switch is amazing. Link's Awakening is still amazing on the DS Color version and on the original Game Boy. But Link Between Worlds is game of the year. Like, come
Yeah,
like
but it's
And
not
I gotta
that year
add
anymore.
too, it was also a dry run for Breath of the Wild because it was the first game where you had all the tools and weapons available to you at the start of the game, which was the model they went on to use for Breath of the Wild. So
yes.
Nice. We're down to our final one on the handheld. It's Triforce Heroes. Triforce Heroes or Minish Cap? Jacob, we'll start with you.
I'm weirdly gonna say Triforce Heroes because I really love Four Swords so much that even though Triforce Heroes kind of fell flat hard like through the earth, it's still that idea of playing a multiplayer Zelda is just so heartwarming.
Who invited him to jump in again?
It's my fault for not playing the handheld games. So
We'll play them.
this one's on me. Rebecca, Triforce Heroes or Minish Cap?
Do you have to ask Minish Cap?
I do actually.
This is my job.
David, Minish Cap or Triforce Heroes?
Minish Cap by a mile.
Ed?
Minish Cap.
All right. Phantom Hourglass or Triforce Heroes? Jacob, we know where you stand. Rebecca?
Phantom Hourglass.
Oh no!
David?
Phantom Hourglass.
Ed?
Phantom
Oh,
Hourglass.
it's still falling.
Oracle of Seasons or Triforce Heroes? Ed?
Triforce Hero.
Yes, Ed.
Rebecca?
Seasons.
David?
Seasons.
Chat.
And Jacob?
Triforce
Chat.
Heroes.
Chat, we're going to go Triforce Heroes or Oracle of Seasons?
There's no way that a fashion crisis is better than the best combat on handheld Zelda.
But I would rather take a fashion crisis than a game that has to deal with seasons when your other game is already better and rated better than your other project. Like I'm going with Triforce Heroes. Like I would rather switch up my clothing and go. This is what we doing in Monster Hunter. We switch our clothing with the best armor.
So
It seems like the chat's pretty unanimous on seasons. So we're going to keep making it down this list. Spirit Tracks or Triforce Heroes? Ed?
Triforce Heroes.
Rebecca?
Spirit Tracks.
David?
Spirit Tracks.
So chat and Jacob, you're voting for Triforce Heroes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, chat. Spirit Tracks or Triforce Heroes?
Please, chat, put Triforce Heroes in its place.
No, it deserves to be above something.
I'm looking at Shane. So Shane says Triforce Heroes is not good. I'm playing right now and I'm forcing myself to play it. Triforce Heroes or Spirit Tracks. The Queen has spoken.
Spirit Tracks wins.
It looks like Spirit Tracks gonna
Spirit
win.
Tracks is getting it.
All right, so now we're back. This is a toilet bowl. We're at Four Swords or Triforce Heroes. Which one, panel? Rebecca.
I'm gonna say Four Swords between those two.
David.
Well, all I know is that I have Triforce Heroes, and I'm going to pick the one I haven't played.
Wow.
Jacob.
So I don't like that Four Swords is all the way down here, but I can't let it beat the game that Triforce Heroes was inspired by Four Swords. I have to go Four Swords. But y'all are
Ed?
still wrong for putting it down here.
I would give it to Triforce Heroes still.
Did we get another tie on that one, or was
No,
that
no. Four Swords
Triforce
for
is
sure.
that- yeah.
okay? All right.
Still saying Shane says 4 is better than 3.
All right. So that's it for the handheld one. It didn't seem as passionate, but we got through it. Four Swords is at the bottom. Triforce Heroes right there. Spirit Tracks is next. Oracle of Seasons. Phantom Hourglass. Minish Cap. And then rounding out our top three is Oracle of Ages. And second place is A Link Between Worlds. And Link's Awakening is our top rated handheld Zelda game.
The greatest game of all time. Also, I'd like to point out that I have a dichotomy here where the last and the best Zelda game are my two top Zelda games.
So, all right, now that we've finished the best console games and the best handheld games in honor of March Madness, since that's going on right now, we are going to do a Final Four. So here's our Final Four, guys. It's Breath of the Wild, Twilight Princess, Link's Awakening, and A Link Between Worlds. What we're going to do is we're just going to rank them 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you rank everyone that gets a first place vote gets 4 points, then 3 points, then 2 points, and 1 point. Whoever has the most points at the end is the best Zelda game from Boss Rush. Okay, so I'm going to put David on the spot first. Who do you have going from bottom to top? Breath of the Wild, Twilight Princess, Link's Awakening, and A Link Between Worlds.
All right, in fourth place, A Link Between Worlds. Jacob is wrong that it is not a better version of A Link to the Past. I just need to put that out there.
Oh, no.
And then in third place, we have Link's Awakening.
Okay.
That's also
Second
wrong.
place, a very close second, but in second is Twilight Princess, and Breath of the Wild takes number 1.
All right. I'll go next. I'm going to give A Link Between Worlds fourth place. I'm going to give Breath of the Wild third place.
What?
Yep, you heard me. Link's Awakening is going to take second, and Twilight Princess is going to be number 1.
Ooh, interesting.
Ed, let's go with you.
Okay, so Link's Awakening is 4. Link Between Worlds is 3. Twilight Princess is 2. And Breath of the Wild is 1.
All right. Jacob.
I kind of have to play a numbers game here because I want Link's Awakening to win so bad. But it's not true. I can't be not true just so that my favorite game of all time wins. Twilight Princess is number 4. Link Between Worlds is number 3. Breath of the Wild is number 2, and Link's Awakening is number 1. I wanted Breath of the Wild to be number 4.
And Rebecca.
I feel like Twilight Princess is number 4. And then Link's Awakening is number 3. And then A Link Between Worlds is number 2. And Breath of the Wild is number 1.
All right. Give me a second to just add this up. Guys, talk about how you feel about the list and everything.
I am upset about Majora's Mask. I have thoughts and feelings, but I really enjoyed this discussion. I really enjoyed the list that we all have our favorites. We all have our dislikes. The Breath of the Wild, I had to give it a number 1 because it is a revolutionizing game for the Breath of the Wild the Zelda series, and for gaming in general. Like, can't deny that people wanted a basic element of climbing in all of their games.
So while you guys discuss this, we do have a tie somewhere in the standings. Chat, can you help us out one more time? Twilight Princess or Link's Awakening?
Oh, chat, don't.
This will be
fail.
interesting.
Don't fail
Yeah,
me,
that's
chat.
those are like that's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
yeah, these lists are pretty good. I can't argue the
You know,
console one especially.
Also, real quick, chat. Go ahead and list y'all's top 4 for these 4 games. Like, we want to see what y'all think exactly.
Can I ask you guys, out of the top 4, which one that you revisit the most?
Link's Awakening.
Breath of the Wild.
Gosh, I don't know. Between all the different versions of Link's Awakening, I've probably put in a ton of hours, but I've got like 350 hours into Breath of the Wild. So I probably Breath of the Wild.
I've
Breath of the
played through it
Wild.
twice.
Breath of the Wild is the newest. Well, not Age of Calamity. I know how you feel about that, Dan. But Breath of the Wild's the newest game on this list, and it's the one that makes me somehow the most nostalgic. Anyway,
Mm.
is just it's so good and so easy just to jump back in and explore and run around. And I really, yeah, I really love that game. It's a great game.
All right, we ready for the final standings?
Yes.
No.
Coming in at fourth place, A Link Between Worlds. The chat has helped us out with these two. We had a tie between Link's Awakening and Twilight Princess, and it looks like the chat voted for Twilight Princess. So in third place is Link's Awakening. Number 2, Twilight Princess, and the number 1 boss rush Zelda game is Breath of the Wild. No surprises there, but that was a great list. Thank you, everybody in the chat. We really appreciate you guys helping out since we were really split on most of these. If you guys had any arguments or you think somebody should have been higher or lower, please just let us know on Twitter or jump in our Discord and yell at Ed for wanting Wind Waker to be better than something that it was.
That retro code, right?
Yeah, at that retro code. Let him know how you feel.
Okay, all I'm saying is watch out catch the heat and catch hands that Wind Waker and Majora's Mask. I'm just saying.
So we got another list in the books, and Breath of the Wild is number 1. But that's it for Doc Mode. Ed, right back to you.
All right, everybody. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, David. Thank you, Becca. Thank you, chat, and thank you, Jacob, for this Zelda discussion. We all had fun. We laughed. We gasped. We got our list, and congratulations to Breath of the Wild. That is the top tier Legend of Zelda game. So we're going to get into playing with power. Becca, why are you playing with power?
So I just beat Pokemon Shield last week. And I'm playing through the DLC there. And then I am ironically playing some Zelda. I'm playing Wind Waker HD on the Wii U. And I'm trying to 100% Age of Calamity. I've got 97% of the game done. So almost there.
Yes. Dan, why are you playing with power?
So I've been playing a little bit of Monster Hunter. You know, like I was saying before, people in the community are awesome. So it's like I've had a few people helping out. Jacob was teaching me how to use a longsword the other day. So I've been playing a little bit of Monster Hunter. I really got into Murder by Numbers for no apparent reason. But like I just started, I do this like ebb and flow with Picross. And like I have a Picross book that I've been doing on airplanes and just hanging out. And I was getting bored with Picross S4, which I just 100%ed. So I decided to try this game, and it's really cheesy but kind of fun. And then I've actually been playing a little bit of Animal Crossing too, which is I have a couple of pieces of my island that I haven't quite finished. So me and my fiance actually have been kind of playing it a little bit more, which is pretty fun.
All right. David, what have you been playing with power?
So I also have been playing the Animal Crossing update recently with was it Bunny Day? Getting all my eggs and stuff, which was fun because I bought Animal Crossing just after that last year, so that was my first time doing that.
So it was rough last year because like that was when you were really grinding, trying to get wood and fish and all that stuff. And like it was so
the eggs would just pop out.
Yeah. So like this year it's actually so much cooler that like I'm not trying to farm 60 wood.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's been much more fun this time around.
Yeah, I was able to kind of imagine a little bit why there was so much hate for Zippy or whatever his name is, the rabbit.
That thing is what nightmares are made
of. I've also been I've been playing through Spirit Tracks. I'm almost done with that now. I'm getting back into that. I've picked back up Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I recently, between last time I was on the show and now, beat Super Mario 3D World. So I'm back to Xenoblade, which I love. And then the game that absolutely just blew me away and that I'm so excited to write about is Gree. So it
Yes.
is just so moving and beautiful, and it's the only game that I can remember playing where I felt compelled to go grab my journal and write stuff down as I'm playing because it was so beautiful. So I'll be writing about that when I finish it.
What is Gree? Like I've never played it, and I hear a lot about it. What kind of game is it?
So Gree is like a venture, somewhat Metroid-like game, but not
Mhm.
really. And it's about this girl losing her voice, and it kind of
Dealing with loss.
yeah, dealing with loss, and you kind of start the world off in this black and white, and then as you go along, these colors start happening, and you just try to figure out, you know, what is how are you coping with stuff and bringing
Mhm.
things together. And it's like only about 2 or 3 hours if you want to play it through. It's no, you can't die, there's no attacking in it, you just figure out some little puzzles and stuff. And the artwork and the music, good googly moogly,
It's
it
an
is breathtaking.
experience.
Yeah, like, yeah. So they would probably understand why I made that my
Yeah.
color of games,
Hmm.
um, that I gotta actually send to you.
uh, what about you, Ed? What have you been playing?
So I finished Blaster Master Zero on Switch. Really enjoyed that game. But playing Monster Hunter Rise, me and Dan was playing today. Beating some
We
Pookie
had a
Pookie.
fun time.
We had a fun time, and I also played with my good friend Trey, from Nintendo Domain. Um, I started out what comes after. I know Celeste been playing this. She said it probably only take me an hour, so I've got to focus on that a little bit later, and understand what it's about. But I tried out Knockout City, the crossplay beta. This is the one that was in the Nintendo Direct, and this is by EA. And I gotta say, it is a fun game. I actually enjoyed it. Like, I don't think it's a bad game. It's a version of it's basically dodgeball, but with a little umph to it and stuff. And I just, man, catching the ball and throwing it back in. It's 3-on-3, and I think the first who gets 10 points, they win the round. You fight 3 rounds, and if you the best 2 out of 3 gets the victory. I had a ball. The places are not too big, and it feels good when you're catching the ball and you're and like just before they could be able to hit somebody, you could throw it back at them and everything. And it's so much fun. I did enjoy it. My only concern with it is because it's cross beta. Um, that there might be some cheating. There might have been some cheating going on in some people's games. It wasn't so much mine or anything. But that is a concern to see if people do play this game and it is cross play when it's actual release. They may have to deal with cheaters with that. But it was a really great game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had so much fun. Price wise, I want to know what it's going to be when it comes out because I think this is a good $40 game. Than it being $60. But like I said, I had a fun time playing it. And I really enjoyed it. Graphics look fine. Um, and I think you're gonna I think probably if you do all 10 points and stuff, I think you probably end up playing like 5 to 7 minutes in total, depending on how long it goes and everything. So and you get a point where one of the teammates go down, or if you go down. So it happens like quickly and everything. But I thoroughly enjoyed this beta. I think Knockout City is gonna be really fun. Hopefully they have a lot of content when it gets released and stuff. But I definitely enjoyed it. Before we get into what people been playing in the chat, Jacob, did you play anything?
I've only been playing Monster Hunter, my dude. That's all I'm gonna be playing for like the rest of
How
time.
many hours are you at?
So I just surpassed 100 hours today.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Right before the show, I was 17 minutes and 42 seconds away from 100 hours, and I've been playing a little bit while producing the show. So I've surpassed that. Yeah, I'm over 100 hours. I'm at HR7, which is the highest you can get right now, and I'm gonna continue playing it on stream. So
Yeah, I
Awesome.
think you might be close to the end then, Jacob.
I'm done. I've finished the
Oh,
like
you finished.
story. Yeah.
Okay.
Now it's just farming and helping other people out.
Okay. Shout out to Shay. He's been playing Triforce Heroes, Hellblade, Suna's Sacrifice. Great game. Any one of you, this is a game that needs to be in your library. And Observer. Matt Farmis has been playing
Pharmacist.
Pharmacist, I'm sorry, has been playing super hot in Donut County. I have Donut County on my PlayStation and I need to play that. But everybody, that's us playing with Power. That's gonna be it for Nintendo Pow Block. We're gonna get quickly into the plugs. Becca, thank you for coming on the show and helping us rank the Legend of Zelda. But did you want to give any plugs or anything?
No, you guys can add me on Twitter or Twitch at Rebellity. I'm always happy to talk about, or Discord. I'm always happy to talk about games. But I don't really do anything. I'm just a fan of games. So
Oh, cool. That's fine. David, go ahead and plug.
You can find me at David Lasby on Twitter.
And our writing staff, writing opportunities. Go ahead and plug.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we listeners of the show probably know by now that we've been putting out a lot of written content over at bossrushgames.com, and we are still looking to expand our writing team. So if you're interested in that volunteer opportunity, you can email us at opportunities@brg@gmail.com. That's opportunities@brg@gmail.com.
And everybody, please go read David's letter of the editor, letter of the month, editor, or what is
Letter
it?
to the editor. A letter from the editor. Yep.
Letter from the editor.
There we go.
Right, for this month. So do go read that. Dan, go ahead and plug.
You can just find me on Twitter at DCDM99.
Jacob, would you like to plug also?
Sure, absolutely. So when I'm not producing the show behind the scenes here for Nintendo Pow Block, you can find me on Galatrad on Twitch and Twitter. Again, playing a ton of Monster Hunter all the time. And then also be sure to go to bossrushgames.com to check out my Monster Hunter review, which posted on Sunday. So yeah, definitely check that out as well. If I can, I'd like for it to be the top read review on Boss Rush because I love Monster Hunter. So. And big shout out to David as well for editing it because he can tell you it was a jumbled mess of just like my love for this series vomited out onto paper, and he made it look. I reread it over what he did, and he made it beautiful. So thank you so much.
All right. Well, and everybody, you can find me on Twitter at that pressure code. You can find me on Twitch at the Lyrical One. You can find more at bossrushgames.com. You can find Nintendo Pow Block on Wednesdays. If you guys if you're not able to watch the live show, like I said, we do go live at 7:30, 8:30 on Mondays. We do have a new show that you guys are checking out. Speaking of Monster Hunter, it's called Hunter for Hires, hosted by LaRon Dawkins and Jacob Taylor. They both host it. You could check out Crossroads on Tuesdays at 8:00. You guys could check out Tower Casual, check out Arsenal X on Sundays, and more. And definitely check out Boss Rush Entertainment with Land Party, Trash Talk, Q. What is the Office one? That they do.
They can find it all.
Q-list.
Yeah.
Yes.
Entertainment tab at bossrushgames.com has all our entertainment podcasts.
Yes. So check all of that out. But everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend. You can email us at nintendopowblock@gmail.com. We want to hear your guys' ranking. And also join us on Discord for Boss Rush Games and Nintendo Pow Block. But then everybody, have a great week. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you next time on Nintendo Pow Block. Bye, everybody. Woo-hoo!